For the Thalrex Dominion, the hunt was sacred tradition for thousands of cycles. Their empire had ruled through strength. Power was respected. Weakness was erased. Every decade, the most powerful nobles gathered for an event older than most civilizations in the galaxy. They called it the Hunt. Entire planets became hunting grounds. Alien forests, frozen. Deserts, volcanic wastelands. Any world that could challenge a predator, rare species were captured and released across those wild planets. Then the hunters were sent down. The goal was simple. Track, corner, kill. The hunt proved who deserved power. Only the richest and most dangerous warriors could join. To the Thalrex, hunting was more than survival. It was identity. They were born on a brutal death world. A planet where storms could tear cities apart, where predators hunted in packs large enough to wipe out entire settlements where only the strongest survived. Over centuries, the Thalrex conquered that world. Then they conquered their star system, then the stars beyond it. But even after ruling half the galaxy, they kept the hunt alive. Because predators must always hunt. So when explorers discovered a small human colony on a distant frontier world, the Dominion Council barely hesitated. Humans were listed as a primitive species. Weak muscles, thin skin, slow. Reflexes, no claws. No fangs, no natural armor, no enhanced senses. Nothing that made them look dangerous to the Thalrex. Humans looked fragile, perfect prey. Permission was granted within hours. The next hunt would feature humans. Lord Hunter Kelvern volunteered immediately. Kelvern was one of the greatest hunters in the Dominion. For 2 centuries he had stalked prey across dozens of worlds. He had hunted beasts larger than tanks, creatures with venom strong, enough to melt bone, warriors from rival empires who had sworn to kill him. None had succeeded. Kelvern had collected more than 900 trophies. His reputation was legendary when he joined a hunt. Survival rates dropped dramatically, even among the Thalrex. His dropship entered the atmosphere of a jungle world prepared for the hunt. The planet had been named Hunting Sphere. 19 endless forests stretched across the horizon, thick green canopies, blocked sunlight. The ground below was tangled with vines and towering trees. Perfect terrain for a hunt inside the dropship. Kelvern studied the human files displayed on his visor. 20 humans had been captured from a passing colony transport. They had been placed inside the preserve 3 days earlier. The hunting zone covered nearly 1 million square kilometers. Plenty of space to run, plenty of space to hide. It would not matter. His fellow hunters gathered around the let us play. Laughter echoed through the cabin. One hunter tapped the screen. These creatures rule their world. He mocked. They look barely evolved. Another flexed his claws. They do not even have natural weapons. Another hunter leaned forward. Look at their bones, thin and fragile. They will break easily. KLVOR. Roar remained silent. Then he spoke calmly. Do not rush the hunt. Give them 2 days. Confused glances followed. Why? Kelvern one asked. Kelvern tilted his head. Because prey must believe escape is possible. That is when the hunt becomes interesting. The dropship landed. The hunters stepped out into the jungle. Each Thalrex stood nearly 8 feet tall. Their bodies were covered with natural armored plates. 4 powerful limbs ended in curved talons sharp. Enough to cut metal, their armor enhanced those natural defenses. Thermal tracking visors scanned the forest. Energy shields shimmered around their bodies. Each hunter carried a plasma lance, weapons strong enough to pierce starship holes. Against humans, it seemed excessive. The hunt began. Within the first hour, they found tracks, human footprints along a muddy riverbank. The prints were clear, too. Clear, messy, UNHIDD, almost careless. They are not even trying to hide one, Hunter laughed. 3 human figures appeared near the river. They filled containers with water completely, unaware of the hunters approaching. One Thalrex raised his plasma lance. A bright blast shot across the river. The energy bolt struck the target, but the humans vanished instantly. The blast passed through empty air. Only flickering light remained a projection. Kelvern said, then a human voice echoed from the trees above. Thanks for bringing the weapons. The hunters spun toward the sound. Branches moved high above them. Something rushed through the canopy. Then Velrak screamed, "Ah!" Wooden spear drove into the flexible joint beneath his armor. The point pierced deep. Velrak collapsed. Instantly, his plasma lance was missing. Kelvern stared at the crude weapon. A sharpened stick. Primitive, but deadly. That weapon is primitive, Kelvern said. A human voice answered calmly from the darkness. Yes, but it worked. Silence returned. Night slowly covered the jungle. That was when the hunt truly began. The Thalrex soon realized the humans had not simply fled. They had prepared the battlefield. Every kilometer of jungle became dangerous. Hidden pits lined with sharpened stakes, camouflaged. Snares that lifted armored hunters into the trees, vines pulled tight around their limbs, chemical toxins coated thorns and leaves. One hunter brushed against a plant. Minutes later, he collapsed. Poison, he gasped. His armor sensors failed to recognize the toxin. How could primitives create poison? Another hunter asked. Humans did not need advanced technology. They needed observation. They needed patience. And they needed motivation. The Thalrex had given them all three by the end of the first night. 3 hunters were missing. 2 more were confirmed. Dead. Kelvern began to understand something troubling. The humans were studying them, testing their reactions, learning their armor weaknesses, watching their patterns. Then the voices began. Human voices echoed through the forest, soft, relaxed, almost friendly. You should sleep more, one voice said. You are easier to track when you are tired. Another joked. Hey, you missed a trap back there. The hunters tried to ignore the voices, but fatigue spread quickly. The Thalrex acquired predictable rest cycles. Humans did not. Humans kept moving, setting traps, watching, waiting. Day turned into night. Night turned into another day. The hunters grew desperate. One Thalrex activated an orbital beacon for emergency rescue. The device exploded seconds later. A human voice spoke through the broken comm channel. We figured out your tech, thanks for the upgrade. By the 3rd day, Kelvorn's hunting party had been reduced from 12 hunters to 1. Kelvorn, the greatest hunter of the Dominion, now hiding alone in the jungle. Every sound made him tense. Every moving shadow felt like an ambush. The jungle no longer felt like a hunting ground. It felt like a trap. Dawn finally arrived. Kelvorn climbed down from the tree where he had hidden through the night. His plasma lance trembled in his claws. Then he saw them. 20 humans stepped out from the trees, alive, every single one. They were scratched, dirty, tired, but calm and armed. Thalrex plasma lances rested on their shoulders. Pieces of armor protected their bodies. Tracking visors glowed across human faces. A woman stepped forward, confident, steady. She activated a transmitter connected to the Thalrex fleet above the planet. Her voice echoed across the jungle. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Terran Colonial Defense Corps. You sent hunters? She looked directly at Kelvorn. They did not survive the transmission. Paused, ships in orbit listened, then she continued. You believed humans were prey. That belief was your mistake. She stepped closer. Humans evolved on a world full of predators. Ice ages, plagues, monsters, larger than buildings. We survived them all. Her voice hardened. For 200,000 years, humanity practiced hunting something far more dangerous than animals. KLVOR. And I felt his claws tremble. Each other. The humans lowered their weapons. They did not attack. They only watched. Hours later, a rescue ship landed. Kelvorn was found alive, shaking, silent. Unable to speak, the humans had spared him intentionally. Warning. The Thalrex Dominion ended the hunt that same day. The story spread across the galaxy. Civilizations that once saw humans as weak began to reconsider. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest. They were not the most advanced. But they possessed something far more dangerous. If someone hunted humans long enough, eventually humans hunted back.